From one of the ash bins, Nag emerges in a nightcap. Clove exits to his kitchen. Nag repeats, "Me pap," over and over. Ham whistles Clove in and commands him to give Nag his pap. There's no more left, so Ham orders a biscuit, and Clove departs and brings one back to Nag. Nag complains, and Ham directs Clove to close the lid on him and then sit on it. Clove reminds him he can't sit, and Ham reflects on how he can't stand. Clove says there's no more nature, and Ham refutes this, arguing that their bodies and minds change. After some more debate, Ham asks him what he does in his kitchen. Clove says he looks at the wall and sees his light dying. Ham mocks this, and then apologizes when Clove reprimands him. Nag emerges from his bin, biscuit in mouth, and listens. Ham asks Clove if his seeds have sprouted yet. They haven't, Clove responds, and never will. Ham reflects that the end of the day is always depressing and like all others. Ham tells Clove to leave, which Clove says he's trying to do, then does. Nag knocks on the other bin, and Nell emerges. Nag asks her to kiss, but she says they can't. They try but cannot reach, and Nell asks why they go through the farce every day. Their sight and Nell's hearing failing, they both can hardly see each other. They laugh over a series of memories, though with less vigor on each remembrance. They are both cold, and Nag suggests they go in, but neither does for fear of being alone. Nell asks if he has changed Nag's sawdust. Nag corrects her. It's sand, though it was once sawdust. Neither his nor Nag's has been changed. Nag offers her the remainder of his biscuit, but she doesn't take it. Ham tells them to quiet down, and thinks about what he would dream of could he sleep. He blurts out, "A heart, in my head," and Nag laughs at this, out of earshot. Nell rebukes him for laughing at misery. Even though nothing is funnier than unhappiness, she says that after a while one stops laughing at it, as if it were a once funny anecdote that has lost its punch. Nell wants to leave, while Nag wants her to scratch his back, as she did yesterday, but she can't. Nag wants to tell her a story about a tailor that has often made her laugh, especially the first time he told it to the day after they'd gotten engaged. Nell attributes her laughter to her happiness that day, but Nag believes it was solely due to his story. He tells the story, switching between the voices of a narrator, tailor, and customer. A tailor keeps botching and delaying the customer's orders for a pair of trousers until the customer explodes and points out that God created the world in 6 days, while he has taken 3 months for the trousers. The tailor tells him, with disgust, to look at the world, and then, lovingly, to look at my trousers. Nell is motionless, and Nag lets out 2 forced laughs until Ham calls for silence. Nag disappears, and Ham whistles for Clove and tells him to throw the bins into the sea. Nell says a few things that Clove takes for nonsense as he approaches her. He checks her pulse and says she has none. Ham tells him to screw down the lids, but before Clove can leave to perform the task, Ham says, "Time enough." Ham says he'd like to pee, but before Clove can get the catheter, he again says, "Time enough." They discuss Ham's painkiller medicine and Ham's deceased former doctor. Ham asks Clove to move him around on his chair and, as he can't see for himself, to hog the walls. He tells him to stop, and then twice strikes the hollow wall, beyond which is the other hell. Ham directs Clove to return him back to his spot in the exact center. After Clove makes several adjustments of the chair, he declares that if he could kill Ham, he'd die happy. Ham's unyielding misery stems from his contradictory impulses towards humans and change. He claims he wants others, especially Clove, to leave him alone or be silent, but he's always worried he's alone or that Clove can't hear him. Just as he has said he hesitates to end life, he hesitates to drive out others and live in solitude, as when he says, "Time enough," to Clove. He wants to believe that their minds and bodies are changing, but he fears any change and has a compulsive need to be in the exact center of the room. He is much like the king in chess. The most powerful piece on the board, he is also the most vulnerable, with limited mobility. The analogy works for the other characters. Clove might be considered the queen, as he is Ham's constant companion, but a more precise position for him is the knight. His movement is irregular. He even travels vertically up the stairs, and Ham virtually rides him when Clove pushes his chair around, as a horse would exert effort to transport a rider. Nag and Nell are the pawns, able to emerge from their bins only at the king's bidding. Ham also resembles a hammer, one of his name's several allusions. He drives the action from a distance while the others, like nails, move in and out of their positions. His striking the wall clarifies this image, repeating Nag's double strike of Nell's ashbin, as do his instructions for Clove to screw down the lids to the ashbin. Another meaning behind his name is that of a ham actor, an aggressive, attention-getting actor. When Nag tells his story and switches between three voices, it is a reminder that Ham is the foremost actor, a virtual narrator who directs the three characters around him. Just as Ham's life is one of delays and hatred for the world around him, Nag's story is about delays and disappointment over natural creation. Beckett also provides a good definition of his brand of absurd comedy when Nell says, "Nothing is funnier than unhappiness." Mining laughter from misery is Beckett's theatrical goal. He does this not to alleviate the misery, but to expose the absurdity of man's condition. Another staple of Beckett's work are his frequent pauses, which speak volumes about his characters' alienation and their gradual, silent approach to death.